coming back home. Y'all coming back home. Y'all coming back home. I'm coming back home. Y'all coming back. Push it to the limit, I can't go no more. Red light, no way, I'm coming back home. Long dirt road, all on my own. I'ma be the greatest, write my name in the stone. Write my name in the stone. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Write my name in the stone. Cause I'm coming back home. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Write my name in the stone. Cause I'm coming back home. Yeah, I'm coming back home.
And we are here for the second game of the stream coverage for day 2 of the 2023 New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Championships between Gangrene and Tough Cookies. What a fantastic match we have for our streamed semi-final match. My name, as always, is Blair Munro.
I'm Jackson Zhao.
And I'm Marian Burke.
And it is our pleasure to be here with you in foggy but still Awakairangi Park in Wellington. What a fantastic tournament we've had so far. We've seen some fantastic Ultimate on display, teams clashing, very hotly contested matches. Sometimes those margins are not reflecting the energy that is being left behind on the field by these teams. But only time will tell which of these two teams we will see in our final match, whether it'll be Gangrene, the locals from Wellington, or Tough Cookies from Auckland. Gangrene already setting players on the line. So both of these teams have had a fantastic run in the tournament so far. Gangrene having just managed to put one over on Ethos in the previous match. My understanding was that they had tied the game at 11 apiece or 12 apiece, and then all of a sudden Gangrene just managed to drop 3 back-to-back to close it out and earn them a spot in the semi-final match that you're about to see. We see the signal from readiness for the Tough Cookies. What a beautiful spin pull there by Krumno. Tough Cookies to pick up and initiate. We have Ivory with the disc.
Oh, a close bid there by Maria.
Jang with the disc, hoping for a nice reset. Barbara Faringer with a great interception there. Gets the disc to Bogatsky. Fantastic shot through to Horan. Pinned down on the far sideline. Bogatsky available as a reset, but he's shut down by Pathe.
Swung to Ben. All the way over.
Great work by Horan with a knee slide to keep that in possession.
Very uncharacteristic drop there by Toya.
Great pressure from Mansfria to shut that one down, giving possession back to the Tough Cookies. Ivory to pick up and initiate. Left-handed, manages to slip it through, but a pick has been called. So a reminder for those watching at home, Ultimate is a non-contact sport, and so players, the defensive pursuit of an offensive player, if it's impeded by the movement or positioning of another player, play stops and players are given the opportunity to catch up to where they reasonably feel they would have been had that pick not occurred. The conditions are getting a little wet and a little slippery. Great grab there. Just outside the hands of Mansfria.
Both teams coming out with great energy to start off the game.
Bogatsky with the disc. Thiney on a great uppercut. But it's Horan on the sideline. Far side of the field. Huge fake. Gets a bite out of Ivory. Comes back to Krumno. To Faringer on the near side. Krumno again. Thiney goes through. Gets the disc from Horan. Pinned down on that near sideline. A lot of pressure there. Ivory being very squarely able to generate the turn. Horan wasn't an option and Faringer couldn't get to it. The call is made for a horizontal stack to come out from the Tough Cookies. Looking to use the width of the field and establish channels for them to attack in the deep space towards the end zone and the underspace towards those handlers. Ivory again using players to bounce up and down the field. Horan aggressive on the mark. Great upline work. A big hammer up. Put here with the disc for the score. It's Tough Cookies 1, Gangrene 0 for the opening point of our semi-final match. And so Tough Cookies to come out on defense yet again. Manang has the disc. A great pull. We've seen a lot from Adam Manang in previous division events, working through Credo, a great counterpart to Sam Taylor-Nartz.
Unfortunately landed out of bounds, so Emma Doyle has just bricked it and is taking it from the centre spot there.
A great slip there by Muskimin, but he keeps it in hands. Goes back to find Cedric Horner. Doyle working there with the disc, and a huge snatch from Lai.
Great poach block.
Lai on a great upline cut. Tries for the one hand, not able to secure it. It's Horner with possession. Looks back, finds Muskimin. High blade, pulled down comfortably by Carter Squires to Doyle, far sideline. What a beautiful shot. But it fades out towards that far sideline, so it's not going to come away.
No, I've played a lot with Emma. She's not afraid to take those big shots, and a lot of them come off, so I'm really glad she's putting them up early in this game, make people afraid of those deep threats.
I have to wonder whether or not the relatively still conditions is just something that our gangrene side, the locals from Wellington who are so used to the wind, they just haven't yet recalibrated for.
Absolutely, we have to put a lot more curve on our discs here, and you can see that that one definitely curved the wrong way away from the receiver there, so it could definitely be a big impact, but Emma has got the disc back and quickly moving it to Arnie.
Yeah. Great work there by Manang to try and work through that zone, but he had two potential receivers who I think maybe miscommunicated, allowing Doyle to get in there and just snatch that disc up. Horner from Stewart to Doyle, marked by Ling. Great upline throw, a high release forehand, wide open in the end zone, but overthrows. That was a beautiful shot by Carter Squires. Great work on that near sideline, but not able to secure the point for Gangrene.
Really great work there from Gangrene, attacking that break side and following that break side throw with a deep cut.
Great snatch there by Carter Squires again. Horner pressured by Lai, puts something up and high, looking for it. Carter Squires with the score. Great work by Gangrene. Great throw by Horner to put that one up. The score now 1-1.
Yeah, in contrast to the last game that we were commentating, this Gangrene team are really much more comfortable sitting with the disc. They're not doing a lot of that fast flow. It's not, the stall counts are getting higher. They're really taking those options, and conversely, a lot of pressure being put on defense as well. So both teams are making it that this fast flow is not happening. It's rather thought about play instead.
Absolutely. We one of the things that I think Jackson in particular, you drew a lot of attention to was just how quickly the Taranaki team were to move the disc. They had those long options available to them. They weren't always taking them. Quite often they would look to favour rapid disc movement to try and upset or disrupt the Morirua zone. But Gangrene, they're locals. They're used to throwing in the middle of a hurricane. So a little breeze like this, not a huge disruption to them. So they know they've got range. They know they've got a lot of throws. They are, as you say, Miriam, a lot more comfortable just hanging on to the disc for a little bit longer. Perhaps I guess a more conventional style of ultimate, a lot more patient, a lot more handler driven. But it's Smith putting up the pull now. Ivory driving the offense. 4 tough cookies. A great turnaround. Santillan getting it.
Looks like a slight slip in the middle, but no injury play, so that's good.
Penfold with the disc right on the end zone, marked by Bagatz. Just puts it in a little bit low. Great defensive pressure, giving the disc back to Gangrene as an opportunity for them to take the lead in the game, taking them one step closer to the finals. Muskimin Krumno putting the big forehand up.
Toya will bring that down every time and always with the exact same facial expression that you saw there.
Bagatsk, nice swing across to Horan for the score, giving Gangrene an advantage.
As we see Toya looking back, looking to centre, centres, and continues it. Great job by Gangrene there.
And so we're going to see Emma Doyle again with the disc to initiate the pull.
The wind has started to pick up a little bit from the first round of games today. So let's see how that affects what Gangrene and Tough Cookies and how they play. See a violation called.
Looks like they may have missed the gender split. I think that's the impression that we're getting. We're just double checking the number of players on the field. So there are 7 players aside, but as a recent rules change in the last few years to try and address gender parity. The majority, the 4-3, switches every 2 points. So whether or not it's male matching majority or female matching players making up the majority, switches every 2 points. So just a little bit of miscommunication there as to what the gender split should be for this point. So Gangrene currently fielding 4 female matching players, which is the reason why Emma Doyle was the one pulling. The responsibility for the pull, the opening throw of the point, falls to one of the players who make up the majority of the gender split on the field at the point. But Emma Doyle, she's just going to run it back. Jang with the disc.
Hold fast, Lucy. Hold fast, Lucy. Great, Lucy. Great, Lucy. Stay with her now, Lucy. Follow her. Eyes on her. Eyes on her.
Great work by Cookies, just working it up the near sideline. A lot of unders, a lot of uplines.
Yeah, very calm on that fore side. They managed to create separation in the area that they're being forced away from in the downfield. So it's really good work, and they used it to their advantage.
We're going to see Johnson pushing up to Padier to Louis for the score.
Dangerous Ineas, played a Worlds campaign with her, so I know a lot about her. And yeah, she's been the initiating cut for, I think, a lot of the offensive structures that Cookies are throwing. So let's see how Gangrene helps to combat that.
I really like the way her on that cut. She didn't have a lot of room to change her direction, but she slowed down just enough to stop her defense there. They slowed down too much. She accelerated and got so much separation from it.
And it really is what it comes down to. It's just that awareness of what your defense is doing. It's the ability to make a decision for yourself, but have the flexibility in you and the trust in your athleticism to be able to make those adjustments once you realize where the weakness in the defense is. Smith to Krumno. Pushing to Stewart near sideline. Huge fake to shift the defense. Goes back to Smith, marked by Lang. Krumno again marked by Lang. But we've seen that cannon that Krumno has. Smith on a beautiful upline, but it's a little high. Great attempt by Manang. It's not going to be enough. Lang peels off. And a great score there by Stewart for Gangrene to take the lead as the score is 3-2 Wellington over Auckland.
It's ever so slightly spitting down. We see a lot of slippage going on in the midfield. Let's see if it starts raining a little bit more and how that affects how everyone else plays.
So just as a little cheeky observation,
I was just going to say that it's really unfortunate. This amazing bid here, absolutely worth taking, but his defender that he was meant to be on took advantage of it. I love the way that they tried to do the switch, really tried to make most of it and help cover their teammates there. But Mikey took full advantage of the fact that his player had made a bid and didn't quite get it. So he was very open for the score.
Gangrene are going to be looking to capitalize on that. And again, it really is. It comes back to what we're saying, just that ability to say, hey, where is the hole in the defense? What have I created? What are they responding to? So it's nice to see that both teams are able to put that on display. They're not going to make this easy for one another. It's interesting, Jackson, that you mentioned that it is getting a little bit slippery. We're actually on a floodplain, so there's a river just behind us in the commentary booth, and this area is intended to minimize the potential for overflow into some of our more vulnerable waterways, which we learned from one of our commentators yesterday, Lucy Ashford. Ivory goes through to Louis, but Horan is aggressive enough to shut that one down. Goes to the other sideline instead. It's Penfold again, marked by Bagatsk. Gets a slip from the defense, finds Ivory. There's the big forehand to Louis. Up to Penfold for the score.
Great shot. Great work by Tough Cookies, working that break side and then working the open side. Is when you work the break side, it opens up the open side so much more, and then they just worked it down all the way into the end zone.
Absolutely, that swing was so vital, really broke it open for them. Then they were on the break side so far that the rest of the field was all open side for them.
Now, another good thing that we're going to get to see in this replay was Sam Penfold, when he made that first offload to Ivory and then made a cut across the front of the disc. He gave a lot of room for that and wasn't looking for the immediate pass, but he was watching where the flow of play was, saw that movement, and then made that separation to open that up over Bagatz for the score. He'll be pretty happy about that as we call our timeout, having celebrated a birthday relatively recently, just on Wednesday. So the fact that his teammates are willing to give him a nice point on the stats board instead of, a present or their time. I'm sure he appreciates that. Tough Cookies up by 1. We're just taking a brief timeout, so we will be back very shortly.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
I'm really looking forward to Winners in Wellington because if Women's and Opens run, they're going to have female commentators for all the female games because obviously, why wouldn't you?
And we are back as we break the timeout. Gangrene, Tough Cookies to take the field. Gangrene down by 1. Tough Cookies to come out on defense now. What a thrilling match for our semi-final in the Division 2 2023 New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Championships. Mance with the disc for Cookies. Big pull to start things off. It touches down a little early. Smith. Carter Squires. We are seeing a zone defense put on display here. Lai with an amazing run through. That's exactly what a zone defense is seeking to do. It's trying to isolate space, force narrow throwing windows. They were able to capitalize. Priscilla Yu with a huge hammer. Priscilla! Brought down by Mance. What an absolute banger. Oh my God, Father, that is the way that Cookie crumbles. She's going to be proud of herself after that one.
Oh, an absolute beautiful shot. The right option to take in these conditions. I don't know why the Wellington team hasn't already been putting those overheads over, because it was a clear choice for that receiver. Cardi Squire's a little bit unlucky as he slips just as the disc was going up, which you'll see very shortly. But she saw it there, knew the option she wanted to take, and executed it.
Absolute magic. Oh my goodness. This is what we've been wanting the whole day. We know that Taranaki Thunder in particular, they had a really big arsenal of throws, and they brought out a few things. Moriru is similarly. We had some really experienced handlers on there, but we didn't see a lot of those just big aggressive options. And to see Priscilla Yu rip one of those out so early on in the game is a hopeful and welcome portent of what is to come. Doyle to receive, finds Smith.
Emma Doyle's put it up, and fantastically taken by Aoife. She swung it to John, because this team has worked together so often, they know exactly where everyone is going.
Miskimen has the disc, pushes back to Bagatsk. Brendan, and a call's made. So just a question as to what is happening with regards to the call that was made on the field. It's going to be a stoppage. Players are just taking an opportunity to discuss things before they come to a resolution. Even if that resolution is disagreement, it's still part of the spirit of the game. So just for those who may not be aware, Ultimate is a self-officiated sport. 7 players aside, all take it upon themselves to learn the rules, to make calls and to resolve them as amicably as possible when conflict arises. So there looked to have been a foul. The question is, what impact, if any, did it have? So it looks like a disc will return to Bagatsk before he managed to get the disc around to Smith. But it's Smith who comes away with it anyway on an aggressive upline cut past Manang. Finds Doyle on the far sideline. Great movement of the disc, dropping back and around. It's Bagatsk, can't jump it quite in. There's a slip from Miskimen. The weather starting to have an impact now. Smith not putting body on the line to that one. Maybe a little bit of self-preservation, definitely necessary in a semi-final when you are one win away from taking a shot at one of the top 2 medals.
During that previous call, the wind has just started to pick up now, going from the closest sideline to the far sideline.
Manang has the disc. He's looking for a reset option to try and get him off the line. Finds one in Tong. Back to Manang. Big wind-up. Lai has it. Manang was there on an upline cut, but looks for Tong instead. Ling calling for the disc, but it goes back towards Lai. Huge outside forehand, finds Manang, and a timeout has been called. Probably recognizing that having caught the disc in a strong position downfield, but without the support from his teammates, calling a timeout resets the play. It allows them to establish an offensive structure before coming back in. So rather than being the one player downfield and have that stall count, that 10 seconds as counted by the opposition, eaten up while you're waiting for your teammates to catch up, burning a timeout, using that as an opportunity to bring all of your players forward without any cost or additional pressure is probably a good move here, just to put that extra point on the board if possible, as long as they can keep it tight. To go up 3 over Gangrene will be a really advantageous position for Tough Cookies to be in throughout the rest of this half.
Yeah, no, being up 3 will be huge. 5-2 is a completely different scoreline to 4-3, both physically and mentally.
And just a little bit of an update as well. So the winners of our previous stream match, Taranaki Thunder, they are currently playing against Fusion Hamilton Fusion from Hamilton for another position in the semi-finals to see who will make the final match. Either way, we'll be seeing both of those teams again in streams later on through our bronze and final coverage. It will be interesting, though. Taranaki Thunder did put 2 points over for a win on Hamilton yesterday, 13-11. So it'll be interesting to see how that resolves in the rematch. And on the field in the background, we have the unfortunate defeated members of our previous stream match facing off against AUC Flow. It'll be interesting to see how that match resolves as well. But at the moment, it is Tough Cookies versus Gang Green. We have Manang to pick up the disc and initiate again, supported by Tong and Lai in the upfield space, marked aggressively by Miskimen. Great defensive cover by Smith there. Neither Lai nor Lang able to get it. Very quick to initiate the offense. Miskimen coming back, marked by Manang. One of the tallest players on the field. He puts the backhand up, looking for Smith, manages to find him. Broad, pushing deep. Finds Bagatsk instead. What a find, somehow. Bounces through Miskimen, but it looks like a pick was called. So Lai, his defensive assignment. Smith impeded from following his player by how close Miskimen was on that cut, trying to find Smith on the near sideline. So they're just going to resolve that, make a determination as to where they should reasonably be. Had that pick not occurred, play is going to start again.
3, 2, 1.
Smith, Bagatsk, Doyle. Great play by Manang. Looks like that was called. Is that being called in? I believe by Tong. A little unclear as to what exactly happened. We're going to see that again. Miskimen on the up line, touches and tries to toe that in on the grab. It looks like it's going to be contested. It's going to go back to Doyle, to Smith. To Doyle, comes wide. Miskimen. What a layout grab. Great attempt by Jenny Ling to shut that one down. But there's no stopping the big green giant, Keegan Miskimen.
As I mentioned,
So we are going to have Gang Green coming out on defense. And so just a little bit of miscommunication about what the score should be. Some resolution amongst the players themselves. It's going to be Gangrene to come out on defense either way with a female matching majority point. Maria Krumno with the disc for the pull, supported by leader Horan. Tiny.
Two great bids by the Cookies players there.
And it's not quite gonna be enough. Leader and Horner working through. Stewart with an uncharacteristic drop. Johnson with the disc. Signaling for Willis on an upline, but it's not going to come. And a pick has been called. But he goes through to Johnson on the far sideline with a huge backhand. Just overthrowing Santillan.
The overbid by Horan there allowed for that nice break shot all around, all to the close side. As we see the wind change a bit, almost an upwind, downwind, going from the right side of your screen to the left side.
Watching Ruby, not coming, not coming. Nice tight.
Krumno with the disc. Leader comes down with it. Finds Horan near sideline, marked by Johnson. Puts the big left backhand up. Looking for Green, but not the players, the turf instead. It's Johnson to pick up and initiate. Sending it long. A great grab by Louis, demonstrating the skill that took her to the world stage. Not able to get it into the hands of Garn.
A quick pickup by Gangrene here.
Stewart goes around to Krumno. To Horner. Trying to shift the defense. Tiny with the disc, marked by Louis. To Krumno in the midfield. Big bite out of the defense. Krumno with an aggressive cut across the front of the desk. Big fakes. The defense having to respect it. Cuts back. A great attempt by Tiny to correct and get the disc down, but it wasn't going to come away.
As we see early cuts from Cookies players here out the vert. Great breakthrough over the top.
Pade with the disc now. Pressured by Stewart. Puts the forehand up. Manages to find Johnson. Comes back to Willis. Pade had the disc. He's got an option. Fakes off Garn.
Great pressure by Horan there.
Overthrows on the reset to Johnson. Putting a massive shot up for Stewart. Can he get it? Yes, he can, but not in the zone. And the stall count is being eaten up as he waits for the great Gangrene players to get in position to finish the attack. Goes back to Horner. And around to Leader for the score.
Except a pick has been called, so the disc is going to head back.
But great over the shot top. Great over the top shot by other Gangrene players, Cedric Horner.
Absolutely, taking advantage of Mikey Stewart just being open in that space back there. He's quite a tall man, and he was able to bring that down easily.
Can't teach tall.
So we are 40 minutes into the game. The score currently 5-4 in favour of the side from Wellington. Gangrene to come out with the pull on defense. Smith, Bogatsky, Faringer, Broad, Miskimen, an additional superior Bogatsky. I'll leave it to those watching at home to determine which is which, but the disc goes up. We know. Oh, Carter Squires is there as well.
Great pull.
We in the commentary booth secretly know which the superior Bogatsky is, but we'll never tell. Ivory with the disc for the Tough Cookies. Lots of fakes trying to get past Carter Squires. Finds Mance. Forehand to Lang. Marked by Miskimen. He puts the big shot up, but it's fading early. Can Penfold get it? Not quite.
That's the win there. The win has started to pick up a little bit more from the first round. Players might not be as well adjusted as they would want to be with the sneaky conditions here.
I think Lang might have also been a little bit off balance trying to get that throw off, seeing Penfold open up that deep space.
It is a lot harder to adjust to the wind in a game when it's just come up in the middle of the game as well. You know, it's the reason we go out and we throw beforehand. We want to feel those conditions. We want to know what the disc is doing beforehand. But when it changes on you mid-game, that's when you can see those errors slipping in.
Carter Squires putting one through back to Smith. Miskimen, Broad, Bogatsk all pushing deep, stranding those handlers a little bit, but Carter Squires and Smith manages to get a slip, taking ankles from Penfold. Nice cut across the front of the stack. Ivory can't stop it. He puts the big shot up. Manson pursuit, but it's Bogatsk, who's not going to be able to run that one down.
She should have laid. I've seen Toya Bogatsky lay out for those things so many times. So absolutely that is something that is in her wheelhouse and she could have done.
And Ivory to pick up and initiate for the Tough Cookies to swing it back, hoping to tie the game, coming back the other way. Lang, Lai, Mance, Penfold with a great aggressive cut, responding to Lang's banana cut through, trying to make that course correction. Lai has the disc, he's putting a shot up, but it's blading early. Carter Squires has it. Immediate swing back to Faringer. Bogatsk to Smith. He puts the shot up, looking for Carter Squires, and finds him in bounds. Gangrene go up by 2, 6 against the Tough Cookies, 4 in this game to 15, our semi-final for the 2023 Division 2 New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Championships. What a specimen, Carter Squires. Oh, my godfather. Jackson, is your mouth watering? No? Okay, just checking.
He doesn't even jump for this one. He's like, I don't need to. I'll just keep running. This is easy.
Easy peasy. Home field advantage. He just makes it look clean. Reaches the hand up. Just waits for the disc to fall into it. Fantastic work. And we're going to see Gangrene come out one more time on defense.
They're starting to run away with it a little bit here, Gangrene. Let's see what Tough Cookies puts on the board. Whether they change out of their vertical stack into a horizontal stack to kind of just give Gangrene a little different look. Initiate the offense from the front of the stack rather than the back of the stack. But yeah, let's see what Tough Cookies puts up.
So we see the signal for readiness. The pull comes up from Smith. Johnson, Willis. Padhe taking a little bit longer than he needs to slow down, but there's no issue with it from the Gangrene perspective. Willis tries for an up line, but it's Louis who comes down with it. Huge grab by Ling, but it's going to be called OB, out of bounds. What a fantastic attempt, though.
Great switch up by Cookies there, horizontal stack I saw, so love to see that.
And now they'll be using a match defense, trying to isolate those individual players, trying to beat or win those one-on-one matchups. Smith to Horan. To Horner. Back to Horan. There's a lot developing in the downfield space. Wright comes back for it. But it's that push into the deep space that's kind of leaving those handlers a little bit isolated. We're needing to see some cuts back towards those handlers if they want to advance the field. But a pick has been called. Both teams a little slow to respond to that pick as those tensions rise. The blood starts to heat up. Can be a little bit tunnel vision-y. It's hard to hear some of those calls being made. Krumnot with the disc. Jenny Lang can't stop a thread through to Horner.
Great
but
defense
Mance can.
Again, that horror stack.
Touches off a great attack by Louis. It's going to give the disc back to Gangrene. Smith supported by Horan and Krumno.
An unfortunate drop there, really just showing how wet the conditions are. You know, it's not raining, but the grass is absolutely soaked. So every time the disc touches it, it's slippery for that next catcher.
Great work by Krumno on that one, pushing Ling into the downfield space before curving around. A great grab by Horner. The one-handed backslide. He just makes it look easy, but he gets the disc back to Horan. Marked by Johnson. High stall reset, goes back to Horner. Finds leader. There it is, a high angle forehand, but it's fading away. A great attempt at a long option. I think that might be the end zone fever starting to kick in. Up by 2, we want to close out half. We need to get this point on the board. But as we've said a couple of times today and yesterday, you can't play the next point. You can only play the point that is in front of you. And if you can't secure that score, then you need to find another option. So Johnson to start us off. Willis on an aggressive up line. It's not going to be there. Louis is the option. Marked by leader. Goes back to Johnson. Padhe is supported by Willis. Looks upfield instead. Or downfield, I should say. That's Mance. Very handler focused. That was a bit borderline, but no one's calling it down. Poon with the disc, marked by Thaini. Goes back to Johnson. Louis is there. Great aggressive chase by leader, but a little bit out of position. Not able to make an attempt at it. The downfield is working their legs to the bone. It's Mance. Finds Louis wide open. Outside of the end zone, Jenny Ling's there. And Louis with the score. What a fantastic play by Tough Cookies. And again, just highlighting the importance of 2 things. 1, always have a second cutter. pushing deep to give you that continuation option in case the disc falls short. And 2, your ladies will win your games for you if you trust them. Fantastic work by Tough Cookies. Fantastic to see our female matching players finish off that point so cleanly with such intensity. Bringing it back to a 1-point game. We're getting down to it, folks. What a fantastic display of Mixed Ultimate today at the Division 2 2023 Mixed Ultimate Championships.
Great bid by Horner there. Great bid. As we see Louis all by her lonesome, pass and then a score in the end zone. Great job. She really freed up herself there from going break side and going into the deep space.
Yeah, she set up a cut, and it can be quite brave to stay in that deep space when you're still free. You know, people often clear and come under, but there's no need to go towards your defense there. She knew that she had the throwers on her team to put it to her, and she took advantage of it.
So the pull comes out of bounds. Carter Squires to pick up and initiate, marked by Lai. Miskimen shut down by Adam Manang. Finds Doyle instead. A secure option in that handler space. One of Gangrene Staples. Looks like there was definitely a touch on that one by Garn, but Miskimen was able to keep it alive. As they pushed, Fardinger on the far sideline wasn't able to keep that in bounds.
Absolutely. Emma Doyle saw Mike Stewart streaking deep. She wanted to put that, but her defender knew that's exactly what she wanted to put.
Manang not able to communicate to his options. And so they were a little bit slow to react to that. The throw goes down. Carter Squires to Broad for the score, taking us 1 away from a Gangrene half in this game to 15. A relatively short point, all things considered.
Cardi Sky's really making short work of that. Seeing that there was more offenders than defenders in the end zone space and pressuring the defense to make a big play, and then finds Broad in the end zone.
It's really, really hard to beat Ultimate on a good day, and it's really, really hard to beat a good Ultimate on any day.
It's a pretty day out here. As they say, can't beat Welly on a good day. These are the conditions I like personally. A little bit gloomy, not too sunny. No chance of getting sunburn or anything. A little bit of wind always helps, hailing from Wellington myself. But yeah.
You can see on that replay that Broad there, she's pushed her defense, staying on the open side of it, but she's pushed us all the way to the break side so that when she actually goes open, she is so wide open that there is no way her defense is going to get a bit on that disc.
And again, it just comes down to A, respecting the defense, but then recognizing they can't take everything away. No one is perfect, and being quick to recognize that allowed Broad to just get wide open for a beautiful score for the Gangrene to take it back to a 2-point game. Bogatsky on the mark. Can't stop. Johnson getting it to Louis. Off Ivory, back to Louis on the far sideline. Broad trying to close the trap. Goes wide around.
Just slips between her hands there.
Giving the disc back to Gangrene. Bagats gets bites out of Johnson. Drops back to Krumno. Broad was wide open on the far sideline, looked off in favor of a shorter reset to Bagats, who goes around to Stewart, marked by Penfold. Krumno pushing deep, dragging Santillan with her, but it doesn't come through as a play. It's Bagats. Gets the fake around, goes Horan, marked by Ivory, far sideline. He lets the big left hand rip. Penfold's underneath it, but so is Stewart. It's Penfold who comes away with it. Great work on that deep defense by Penfold. Giving the disc back to Tough Cookies Ivory, supported by Poon and Johnson in the upfield space. Santillan, Penfold, Jang and Louis in the downfield. We are seeing a zone defense from Gangrene, applying a lot of pressure. They're only millimeters away from the disc, but they're able to generate an overthrow, giving Gangrene an opportunity to take half here. They're close to the red zone. Do they have the patience to make it happen, or are they going to pull trigger on a lower percentage option and give Tough Cookies an opportunity to stage a comeback? It's Krumnor with the disc marked by Santillan, swings wide to Horan. Ivory gets into position, goes around to Krumnor, can't secure it.
John Bogatsky working really hard here. He is one of the front people up in the zone, and then he's coming off to handle each time as well. So a lot of movement for him there.
Looks like we have an injury being called. Jenny Ling coming on as a substitute for Louis, who's going to take the rest of the point off. Asking whether or not Gangrene want to take a substitution as well, as they are allowed to do in the event of an injury call. So we're going to see Stewart come away in favour of Horner.
Always a smart move there. I think if the other team gets fresh legs on, and it's been a bit of a long point, if you don't take that opportunity as well, then you're really putting yourself at a disadvantage for no good reason.
Great grab by Jang from the high release backhand of Ivory. Thiney putting a huge amount of pressure on, but Poon's able to get it and quickly snap one forward to Penfold in the midfield, marked by Horner, goes past, finds Jang again. Thiney getting into position, goes around, finds Jenny Ling. Nice forehand looking for Poon. Not able to secure it.
Great upfield movement there. A lot of unders and up lines. Love to see it from Cookies, just an unfortunate turnover there.
Some lovely movement there from the Tough Cookies team. Every time they looked upfield, there was a free cutter available. It was unfortunate that that last throw didn't come off, but Maria Cromwell with the disc.
Great work by Horan and a great bait attempt by Ivory. They're able to generate the turn as well as finding good position, closing off some of those channels. Tough Cookies want to bring it back within one. Gangrene don't want to let them. Again, the high around backhand to Jang, who tries to push one through to the end zone. It's not going to come away.
It's just those last throws for Tough Cookies. That one last throw to push, punch it into the end zone that they're slipping on. I don't know if it's, again, the wind and not being well adjusted to it, or just a little bit of end zone fever.
Horan has it now. Horner puts a laser show up for Thiney, but it's a little long. She's not going to be able to run onto it. If nothing else, it's a great territorial throw. We know that we've seen this very aggressive zone defense headed by Bogatsky for Gangrene. Are they going to initiate the same thing? Are they going to utilize this territory to force a lot of passes and create openings for errors to slip into the Tough Cookie game?
They appear to be trusting to their match force now, and it appears to have worked for them.
Penfold just overran that, so Krumnor and Horner to initiate. Horner to Bogatsky, marked by Johnson. There's a lot of left-handers. A lot of left-handers on this Gangrene side. It might be throwing off the Tough Cookies a little bit. Williams getting involved as well. There's Horan to Thiney, but comes in a little high and Jang secures it. Tough Cookies calling for a little bit of calm. As those turnovers start stacking up, it starts to add a bit of strain. It requires good leadership and good leaders to make good decisions.
So more of those long shots are going up now, and it seems that the teams aren't actually aren't worried if it ends up just being a huck and D tactic for them. It's working, and they want the other team to have to really have a long way to go before they get to the end zone.
Krumnor pushing deep, got separation from Santillan, but she's not going to use it. Bogatsky center field. Krumnor has it now. What a grab.
Absolutely love those deep cuts that don't end up being hit deep, but mean you get a massive gain coming under. So valuable for your team.
Thiney marked by Jang. Pushes up line to Bogatsky. Drops back to Horner. Krumnor wasn't looking, wasn't the option. Finds Broad instead. Marked by Ling. Bogatsky again. Horan wide open. Ivory slow to close, and a timeout
That's
has been
timeout.
called.
The perfect timeout.
And so that will be the floater timeout at the moment. According to tournament rules, each team is allowed 1 timeout per half, and they're given 1 floater. This will be Gangrene's floater, their second timeout of the half, but a great call. As we talk about, as you mentioned, Miriam, they've got that, they're not afraid to play that huck and D, but it starts to add up, it starts to tire you out. Making that call, getting some water in the body, just getting that chance to hydrate, catch your breath. Even 30 seconds, even a minute can often be enough to find those reserves to really drive out the close of the point. So we'll see what kind of adjustments each team are going to make. Gangrene so close to putting it away. They want to take half. Tough Cookies don't want to let them do it. So we'll see what happens after this timeout. Jackson, do you have any insight as to what you're expecting to see from Gangrene after this, or for this next offensive possession? They're quite close to the end zone.
I wouldn't call it close enough to set an isolation play per se. They might go back to their horror, which they've been setting up their horizontal stack. Maybe the open side players cutting deep, opening up that open side space for someone from the break side to slash across for an easy under, and then continuing from there. They could very easily hit the break side and use that break side flow to then score as well. So a lot of options here, relatively close enough, and let's see if Gangrene can punch it in.
So you're kind of expecting to see a sort of a 2 or 3 pass offense to close out this point. Now, I know just from what we've seen in this game, we've seen Gangrene even a little bit further back really try and hammer home those single pass options to really try and shut down the point to close it out and get that break that they all desperately want. So we'll see whether or not cooler heads will prevail.
And you see after a timeout that offense will be setting up first, so we'll be able to kind of get an idea of what Gangrene are doing first, and then of course Tough Cookies get to set their defense around that. So really, it's a great call to have a timeout, but it does give your defense a bit of an advantage to try and figure out what you're doing.
And based on what we can see in front of us now, we have Bogatsky and Horan. They're going to be isolating Maria Krumno in the center field. They've got a stack set up towards the middle of the end zone. Once Krumno gets free from her defender, that's the intention anyway, they'll get her the disc, and those 4 other players, you've got Horner, Broad, Williams, and Thiney, they're going to be making a cut to try and get the second pass. So in terms of a defensive response, putting a really fast, aggressive defender on Krumno to try and stop that, and then splitting the rest of your defenders to cover what's happening based on that second continuation cut. If Tough Cookies do their job right, Krumno's not going to get a touch in. And they've managed it. They've managed to shut down the isolation. It's Williams to Horner instead. The isolation play has fallen apart. It goes back to Horan. Krumno trying to shake Jang, manages to get it. Puts a laser through to Thiney. I would love to see a hammer here, but it's not going to come away. Or is it? An unmarked Horner goes wide around to Horan. Bagatz had separation from Penfold, but it's Krumno again, looking for Thiney. Just can't close it out. Ooh.
Some really strong defense there by the Tough Cookies. They had to move it so often, and even when they got it to the break side, they had to go backwards to do so, and Tough Cookies clamped down on that so quickly, forcing that big overthrow at the end. It was very impressive to see.
I could not agree more. That was genuinely fantastic defense by the Tough Cookies, recognizing instantly what the offensive plan was, finding those matchups, isolating them, really squirrely, getting everything shut down and forcing a multiple passes in order to generate that turnover. I hope when they go back and watch this, they are very proud of what they were able to do.
And an out called here. Unsure as to whether she caught it and jumped it and landed on the line or not.
We may or may not get a chance to replay that, but regardless of what we see, it comes down to the players to make that call, and made a great spirited call by agreeing with the out call. It's going to give possession back to Gangrene. Now we know they're closest. Are they going to try the same thing again? Looks like a horizontal setup initially. 3 players back. Horan, Bogatsky, Krumno on the far side. That same vertical stack. It's Horner making an initiation cut. Ivory, so aggressive on the mark. Horan has to put one up. He's looking for Bogatsky, but it's Penfold who comes down with it. Great turnover there, giving Tough Cookies an opportunity to work upfield. Johnson puts the laser show up, looking for Penfold. He's got it. Ling in hot pursuit. She's an option, but it's going to be Jang. Oh!
Unfortunate turnover there. Great bid by the Cookies player.
Absolute heartbreak after that hard work on defense. And an injury has been called. Jang going to take a substitution. We're going to see Louis. Priscilla Yu going to take position on the field. And Thaini to take a substitution as well.
So unfortunate for Jang there after she single-handedly shut down that play at the other end. It's not very common to put 2 people on the isolation play, but they trusted in her. They knew that she could do that. She's clearly an athletic player, and that bid just proved it. It's really unfortunate that she's had to come off injured afterwards.
Just the vision as well to have players pushing deep, supporting one another, so that if that throw falls a little short of the end zone, there's someone right there.
Absolutely, it's that trust knowing that your player is going to catch it, but they're going to need someone to throw it to.
I think that's something that a lot of people tend to forget as we see Williams get the disc from Bogatsky on the far sideline. Penfold with another touch. You can't spell Penfold without a D. Ivory to pick up and initiate on the far sideline, marked by Horan. Can he get the bookends? Swings back, marked by Bogatsky. Goes to Priscilla Yu on the near sideline. Huge backhand, finds Johnson for the score. There it is. My God, Father, what a string of plays. Some fantastic work to bring it back within 1.
Valuable substitution there. Priscilla Yu coming on and immediately with the assist. She knows how to sport.
Yeah, sports. Go team. Team, go team.
Not a hobby. Not a hobby. Definitely a sport.
That was a huge point for Tough Cookies. That was Gangrene's opportunity to take it to half. They didn't. Tough Cookies punched it in. I wonder if this is going to be Tough Cookies' momentum starter.
Okay, Tough Cookies to come out on defense. We have Mance, Manang, Tong, Gan, Xiong, Julia Ling, and Dylan Lai. Miskimen, Doyle, Smith, Carter Squires again, putting a long shot up, looking for Farlinger. There it is. That's our halftime. A perfect offensive finish to the first half of the game. Our semi-final match between Gangrene from Wellington and Tough Cookies from Auckland, brought to you by ULTI.TV. What a pleasure it is. My name is Blair Monroe.
I'm Jackson Zhao.
And I'm Miriam Burke.
And we will be back with you for the second half of this match very soon.
And the first pull is up in our second half, going to be picked up by Maria Crom now. Swinging it through into the middle, and this time Gangrene are once again out with their horizontal offense, trying to make best use of that downfield space, so we should expect to see a big shot coming up.
So for those watching at home, this is the second half of one of our semi-final matches in the 2023 Division 2 Mixed Ultimate Championships, as Carter Squires puts a huge shot up looking for Stewart but can't find him. Looking for an opportunity to put another early point on the board, really widen that margin. My name is Blair Monroe. I'm joined in the booth by Miriam Burke and Jackson Joel. What a pleasure it is to be here, to be your eyes and ears on the ground, as the Tough Cookies from Auckland and Gangrene from Wellington go head-to-head, trying to earn a spot in the finals. Priscilla Yu to initiate. Finds Mansu, puts a shot up, but it's blading early. Xiong gets it. That's our option. Garn manages to pull it down. What a fantastic score there, as Tough Cookies quick to operate off a turnover. That long shot from Carter Squires finding turf. Tough Cookies picked it up and ran with it and absolutely baked the opposition on that point. 7-8. Still in favor of Gangrene, but anybody's game.
Some real speed seen there in those last receivers, and they made a wonderfully efficient point for that last one. 4 passes just going straight up and for the score.
Yeah, Zhang definitely has some wheels in her. Maybe a player to look out for. Personally, in the booth, it looked like an overthrow, but she really hustled to get there.
Absolutely. I thought she was going to have to make a bid for that, laying out something along those lines, but no, she just accelerated right through, despite the fact that she had slowed, turned, and was a little bit out of position for it, to be honest, but she managed to reel it in.
It's exactly, it's one of those things you see, you think there's no way they're going to get that. There's no way. And yet, what a fantastic performance by Garnier, as Tong's going to initiate with the pull for Tough Cookies to come out on defense. A huge monster shot, but it's fading far towards that far sideline. Heads up. Poor, delicate spectators. The sideline is not a safe place if you're not an athlete. And Doyle is going to pick up the disc and initiate from the brick mark. So 18 meters in front of the defensive end zone in the middle of the field. So there's no positional advantage conferred by throwing the pull out of bounds. Muskimen, Smith, Doyle. Smith with it, goes around. Thigh knee stretching deep. Manages to have Tong on the back foot. His calls from the sideline too far. She took that deep cut and stretched it. Horner comes back for it, providing that needed handler support by the Gangrene as the Tough Cookies defense is starting to frustrate. We're seeing...
They're doing a bit of a junk zone there where it appears to be match on the male matchup players, but the females are playing a bit more zoney, a bit more poachy, trying to really cut down that space.
And I think it's interesting to see when that is utilized. Teams often will throw on what we call a lady zone of this type when they feel their opposition aren't using their ladies as well as they could be. We know that there's a lot of confident male handlers on this Gangrene side, but if Tough Cookies have recognized, hey, they're not passing to the women as much, that gives us an opportunity to help others out. But Gangrene managed to keep that possession through that layout by Tong, which was fantastic by Tiny to get it. It's fantastic reception by Broad to bring it back to a 2-point game.
The defensive pressure is definitely ramping up on the Tough Cookies side. About 3 or 4 very, very close bids, almost 50-50 bids out there. So love to see that from Tough Cookies really fighting out here.
Tiny, as Yu looks to shut down the lane, allows the recenter to lead her. Horner to Smith. Calls for it. What a beautiful shot. Had the separation.
fantastic work there by Gangrene to widen up that margin. They want to see the finals. And in a game to 15, they are now only 6 points away from securing that, or 13 minutes. I think this might actually be our first stream game that hasn't gone to point cap. I could be wrong about that. It's been known to happen, but it'll be interesting to see these two teams really fighting it out, playing such aggressive defense. The points are stretching out, and the point totals might be a little bit on the low side. If that eventuality occurs, we'll talk you through what exactly that means. At the moment, just imagine that we're racing to 15. Johnson, Willis, Bogatsky's able to secure that outside this outstretched hands of Jang. Bogatsky to Horan. Fardinger can't get it. But Tough Cookies are in a tough spot. They're right in the corner in front of the defensive zone. It should be an easy opportunity for Gangrene to utilize their knowledge of playing in the wind to really pin down the Tough Cookies offense. They haven't prioritized it. It's Louis with the disc now, working back to Poon. Comes wide, finds Johnson. Jang's asking for it.
Good to see Jang back on the field after that injury call that put her off before.
Poon not able to get that disc secure. Horan has it. Big fake trying to go around. What an attempt by Johnson to block that, but he managed to tip it up just enough into the hands of Lucera Williams for a fantastic grab by Gangrene to go 10-7 over the Tough Cookies. 11 minutes left before we hit our soft cap.
Widening that gap to 3 points for the first time in this game, I think.
Great concentration by Williams on that catch.
Absolutely, it can be so hard once that D's happen. You just assume it's not coming to you, but she watched it the whole way and had to kind of rugby catch, scoop it in, which is not always the most comfortable feeling, but she did very well.
Now, Miriam, I don't know whether or not you had an opportunity to watch any of our stream footage yesterday. There was one fantastic point in one of our games. It was AUC Flow versus Gen 3. The Flow defender managed to hit the disc, get a touch on the disc, and then in trying to secure the block, ended up tipping it up into the hands of the defender for the score. So 2 attempts. Their first attempt, they knocked it down. The second attempt, they knocked it back up. And it was just absolutely fantastic to watch Pilarkin for Gen 3 just have the awareness to just grab it and secure the point. So it is rare, but oh my goodness, it's lovely to see that that offensive awareness and that a disc is catchable until it hits the ground. McKivitt with the pull for Gangrene. Willis early recenter to Johnson as we set up in a vertical stack. Tough Cookies trying to use channels up the near and far sideline. Louis has an option, but she's got to grab it. A pick was called.
Yeah, I think a most definite pick there. Her starting in the middle of the stack, cutting deep, unfortunately.
And that's one of those things that it is important for offensive players to recognize. Actually disengaging from the stack before you start to make your cut is an important thing to prevent things like that happening. You may have had the separation inherently, but unless you disengage from the stack, you're opening yourself up to have a pick called on you and undo all that hard work by Louis, that fantastic chase down on that great long option by Johnson. I have a sneaking suspicion he's just going to do it again.
And with those receivers on the field, why wouldn't you?
This is where I'd be screaming, do it again.
There we go. As you say, Jackson, you heard it from the sideline. Do it again, do it again. Works to Poon instead, marked by Broad, drives up the sideline to Pate. A laser show to Penfold, not too far, marked by Horan, goes around to Johnson. What a grab there, just a perfect string. That is what we in Ultimate call cramming it up the cram hole. Just that force pushing towards that far sideline and just working around it, stringing passes one after another. Drive, 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 and then eventually Johnson comes down with the score.
A huge run from Johnson. He came all the way from that handler space and lost his defender while doing it, because I guess his defender just really didn't expect him to run the whole field for the end of the score. But he did, showed his athleticism and came down with it, which I guess is almost as good as throwing the assist that it would have been earlier.
It's still a stat regardless for those who are keeping track at home. That's another +1 to wherever Sean Johnson happens to be on the stat board. It's important to recognise, well, I think you make a good point there, Miriam, that quite often you get an impression for how people are going to move based on where they initiate on a point. You think handlers, they're squirrely, they're wiggly, but we're not expecting them to turn into a full sprint at any point. And so you kind of let yourself get lulled into a false sense of security when you've got a player like Johnson. You mark him up, you're not expecting him to run long, and then as soon as he does, all of a sudden he's got that separation, manages to get that score. Miskimen driving the offense for Gangrene now. Lots of give-and-go work. It's Carter Squires marked by Shiong, back to Miskimen. Krumnor has it, threads one through, finds Carter Squires. What a fantastic grab, marked by Shiong. Flashes a foot into the throwing lane. Manang trying to shut down that continuation. Loses his assignment, but picks him up again. Stewart with the disc now.
Some really good defense from the Cookie players here. They are forcing them backwards for most of it. Amazing bid there as well.
Stewart tried it. There it is. Cedric Horner with the additional score, 11-8. It's not an insurmountable barrier for the Tough Cookies to overcome, but the longer they leave it before they start that comeback train, the less margin for error they have. You can make up 3 points when it's 8-11. You can't really afford to make up 3 points when it's 14-11. We have 6 minutes left before we hit our soft cap. Some long points. It just means both teams are really leaving it all out on defense.
Yeah, that was a huge flying bid from Manang on that far sideline. Love to see the bids coming through. I would like to see Tough Cookies on defense maybe having active positioning to get even that much closer and eventually get the D. And so we'll see if Tough Cookies can bring that out.
Yeah, they've been doing they've definitely improved on that and been doing a good job on it in the downfield, but they appear to be actively forcing their handlers to stay back in the handler space. I think they've seen those up the line cuts are a bit of a threat, so they're hanging off and poaching off, but it does mean that they're able to get the disc and they've got the throws that there's still a risk for it, so it's definitely a balancing act there.
That was Thiney with the pull, landing around midfield.
And Tough Cookies, it's Johnson and Ivory. Bagatsky, the long arms. Horan applying enough pressure. But Ivory's able to get it. Poon to Ivory, far sideline, puts the big shot up. Who's he looking for? Santillan and Zhang. Zhang's the one who comes down with it, but it's just too long out the back of the end zone, so it's going to give Gangrene the disc and an opportunity to widen that score up even further.
Unfortunately, a turnover there. I know how it feels to be marked by Hamish Horan. Unfortunately, it's very hard, so I understand that long shot. But yeah, still a great long shot nevertheless.
Ben Wright pushing deep, marked by Penfold. Toya Bagatsky also circling through. Thiney getting back into the handler space to get involved. Bagatsky's there. A lot of milling around. Fardinger has it now. Bagatsky, Horan's looking to push it deep, but Ivory's right on his tail. And it falls a little short. The disc edging over a lot earlier than I think Bagatsky was planning for it to.
The wind really picking up here.
Yeah, the wind definitely would have affected that throw. But I think there was also a little bit of a, I want to take this option. I'm not quite set for it, but I'm going to do it anyway.
100%.
Louis putting up a massive shot to the end zone. Looks like that was probably going to tip out the back anyway.
We can see the impact of the wind on this kind of downwind shots that they're taking. Earlier in the game, these weren't going too far. They were sitting nicely for them in the end zone, but now they're overthrowing their receivers and they're just going to get more tired. And when you're trying to make up that deficit, it makes it so much harder.
Yeah, so our wind being a little bit more stable. It's not too strong where we are in the booth, but it's got a dominant right side to left side flow. And so anytime the wind is at your back, it just carries the disc. Leader to Fardinger. To Bagatsky, what a grab, what an absolute sweetheart. He's looking for Thiney, pursued by Santillan. And it fades out just at the end. The near side edge of the disc dropping. You can see the look on Thiney's face as she realizes that adjustment. And she's not able to grab it. I think if she'd secured that disc, it would have been in. But just the pressure, she wasn't able to close. Jang pushing deep, Penfold's there. But he's called an injury. Looks like he may have hyperextended on that landing. Or possibly something on a toe. It's a great cut by Jang to open everything up. Partier with the disc now to come in. The Tough Cookies, all of their shirts have cookie-related nicknames on the back. The fact that Partier's is Brownie, it's a little bit suspicious.
And Brendan Smith subbing on for Ben Wright there for the Gangrene team as well.
Ivory on an upline cut, doesn't come. Bagatsky with a great steal. Smith has a lot of options, but he doesn't seem to want to take them. Horan, Bradley tries to get a bite. There's the hammer. Bagatsky underneath it. Yes, he is.
A tricky one there because Horan is a lefty, so that lefty hammer comes up kind of from the different side that you're expecting. Curves the wrong way, so John did quite well to reel that in.
Probably one of the most difficult throws to read as a receiver, so yeah, great reel in.
Looked normal to me, but then as you started to mention that, I realized I'm left-handed, so that explains a lot. What a fantastic put there for Bagatsky to reel that one in, as the game is now a 4-point margin. We're going to see that again. Horan with a beautiful hammer. Bagatsky turning, tracking. Oh, my goodness. That's the kind of throw that's going to take you to the finals, folks. Practice them. Practice your lefty hammers, even if you're right-handed. It's the throw.
So difficult because he's running forwards that way and the hammer is still coming from behind him. You never really want to be catching a disc that is coming around from behind you. So John did well to turn and get that in. If Hamish could just be less left-handed, I think that would be easier for everyone.
Story of my life. People asking me to be less left-handed. And the disc goes up from Gangrene. We've got Willis. Priscilla Yu threads through to Mance. Marked by Horner. Big fakes, getting bites out of the defense. Looks back to Yu instead. Thiney, aggressive on the mark, but giving her a bit of space. She scoobers over the top, just outside the hands of Mance.
Definitely the right option to take there. They should be taking some of those overhead shots. It came off all right. It's just unfortunate on the receiver at the end.
And now we've got Smith, Horner, and Krumnor. Stewart pushing deep. Oh, Krumnor there to clean things up just like our partners. Low-cost bins. Can't stop, won't stop. Love the work that they do to help us keep our Kairangi Park beautiful and clean for only the most beautiful and most clean ultimate and ultimate players to bring out the very best in the Division 2 2023 Mixed Ultimate Championships. Great bid by Mance, but it's going to be Horner with the big backhand for Broad just outside the end zone. Williams in hot pursuit. Ling aggressive on the mark. What a huge defensive play by Priscilla Yu to shut that one down.
Sports, 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 she can do it. So amazing pressure there because it's quite common to leave that player, but she really stayed tight. Unfortunately, she's then thrown the turnover, which is always horrible to see. Conservation of greatness.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that Priscilla necessarily threw the turnover so much as Smith secured it. It was a great run-through little touch on that upline. It was a very, very aggressive option with a very tight window. Smith was there to shut that down but couldn't secure the point on the other end. So Tough Cookies are going to get another opportunity. We see them setting up in that horizontal stack. We can see as well just where the respect is. Horner giving Lang a lot of options on that break side. Just looking to almost set up a bracket. It's Mance. He's got the blind spot. Can he get it? Oh, what a bid.
And back, straight back on defense. Great mark.
Smith drops one through to Krumno. To Williams. Stewart trying to get shifty. Finds Smith. Marked by Willis. Thiney. Marked by Lang, but gets a big one through. Can Broad get to it? No, she can't. Lang with a fantastic chase down as it sails over the head of Mikey Stewart for Gangrene.
That throw had great shape to it on the inside forehand break. Unfortunately, thrown, I think, a bit too early.
Yeah, Gangrene have sped up from the start of the game. They're actually taking a lot of those first options and it appears to be rushing for them. Not quite good flow and quick play, but instead a little bit of rushed options seem to be coming out of it.
Guy on Lang on the far sideline. Pushing back to Willis. A wide open Mance who's going to get it in hands this time. Wants to push it up line. But great pressure from Stewart's going to stop that. It's Willis again. Some nice quick give goes. Pushing across. Finds Lang. Feel free to pass to a lady, lads. It is mixed ultimate. Willis. Back around, and Stewart says no. Priscilla, you with a great attempt to keep that one in hands.
It's definitely started to heat up on the sidelines. Love to hear the voices.
Well, I think based on our time cap, or our timer on screen, we're at 94 minutes, which is going to be past our time cap. So whether or not that happened in the last point or this one is going to dictate what the final score of the game needs to be. Smith puts a big one up, looking for Stewart, and finds him. That's going to be 13-8, and I believe that that is going to be the game, but I'm not sure. Yep. Great play through there by Priscilla Yu. We've gone backwards and forwards, and a timeout has been called by the Tough Cookies. We're just going to get some. So we're just getting confirmation that the soft cap, our 90 minutes, happened in that last point. So what that means for us, rather than a game to 15, we're going to take the score at the conclusion of that point. 13, we add 1 to it. 14 is the new target. Gangrene, they only need 1 point to win. Tough Cookies need an offensive hold here and then 5 back-to-back breaks if they want to see the finals.
It seems unlikely, but I was watching a game yesterday where this exact thing happened. They got the 5 back-to-back points. It became universe, and they secured the game in the end. It is not impossible. It happens, especially if that, you know, that one team is just trying so hard for that 1 point that they try and take those riskier options. They try and jam it in, and as long as you've got that drive to start pulling it in, you know, those Tough Cookies can really take one over the Gangrene.
Absolutely. You'd comfortably crack your teeth trying to take a bite out of one of those cookies. And that is potentially on the cards, even though Gangrene are up by 5, only 1 point away from winning. We could very well see things go back the other way. It has happened. It's been known to happen. There are some historical incidents where a 12-point deficit has been thrown away in a semi-final match. AUUC Flood, they'll definitely remember that very fondly from a few years back, but this is the thing. It's, are we playing this point? Are we playing this match?
I think Gangrene will be hoping after half-time, just before half-time, they called a timeout, and then they had an incredibly efficient point to score. I imagine they'll be hoping for something similar here. They'll want to get that turn very quickly and just secure it in so that they can regroup, recoup, ready for their next game.
Smith with a great big pull. What kind of defense are we going to see from Gangrene if they want to generate the turn and close it out? Ivory, Poon, and Johnson to initiate that horizontal offense as we've got Jang, Louis, Padie, and Penfold working the downfield space. It's Penfold far sideline now marked, but pushes the disc up to Poon. Tiny overbids a little bit, but Poon's not able to use it. It's Johnson. Jang's pushing wide, all the way deep. Marked by Miskimen. Goes over the top. Ivory doesn't even worry about it. It's Penfold to secure it. Louis there. Big forehand looking for Padie. He stumbles. An absolute heartbreak. The throw had a little bit of float, but
it might have been out of bounds anyway. It's hard to tell exactly from here, but he possibly could have reeled that in. That is unfortunate.
But that is the way the cookie stumbles as Miskimen starts us off, passing to Horan on the far sideline. A crazy inside break attempt to leader, but it's not going to go away. We are having a biscotti moment. We're letting those cookies cook a second time. Penfold to Johnson. Marked by Miskimen again. Finds Ivory. Can't get around Horan. Finds Padie on the near sideline. Bogatsky peels off his assignment to try and provide cover. Finds Poon. Marked by Tiny. Jang, a potential option if she can go over. Louis gets it instead on the near sideline. Marked by Fardinger. Ivory trying to get separation. Oh, manages to put Horan through the spin cycle.
Get that man ankle insurance.
That must be Grandma's secret cookie recipe. One of those special ingredients, the ankles of your handler defender. As Ivory pushes across to Johnson. And an injury called. Louis looking to take a substitution, I believe. It'll be Jenny Ling to take the field. Gangrene feeling hot on defense. Are they going to take a substitution? It doesn't look like. They want to keep that blood hot. They want to use that on this defensive point. No, it is going to be Williams for Tiny. Trying to mark out Michelle Poon. Miskimen. Those long arms, that solid defensive wall that he's got, he's going to be shutting down the near half of the field. And so the question is Johnson going to be able to break around him, or are we going to have to attack that open side? Two cuts to the same place. Throws off the rhythm. Ling gets it. Despite a great attempt by Padie to pull that one down, it's Ivory swinging back. A great throw over the top, that half pivot, high release backhand that we've seen Bradley Ivory throw so many times during this match. And a score for Penfold to make it 13-9. Still in favor of Gangrene in this race to 14. The winner of this match we will see again in the finals of the 2023 Mixed Ultimate Championships Division 2 at Okairangi Park.
Yeah, gorgeous breakthrough. Little backhand over the top into the break side space. Yeah, lovely.
I would be almost willing to bet that he has been practicing his disc golf putting, and that is translating directly to that high release backhand throw. It's absolute filth. It's, look at that. That's not fair. That's just not fair.
Makes me.
Why can't I throw that? I'm left-handed.
Makes me want to be more left-handed.
Yeah, more left-handed. That's what we want.
Maybe Warren can teach us something as well.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that he was going to be putting on a clinic this weekend, but here is where it starts. Lesson 1. Doyle to Smith. To Stewart, marked by Manang. Smith on a wide open upline cut. Tracked by Mancy's managing to get it pinned down on the sideline. Threads one all the way through to Carter Squires. They could be closing it out here.
They're really jamming it up the sideline, and it is
That's
successful.
gonna be the one. Carter Squires to Williams to close out the game, taking Gangrene, our local heroes, all the way to the final match. They are guaranteed to walk home with a heavy neck, but whether it be heavy with gold or heavy with silver, only time will tell. What a fantastic performance by both of these teams. Could not be happier to have seen Tough Cookies lay it all out on the field in front of such a worthy opponent. I'll bet Gangrene are proud of themselves. But we will see them again very, very shortly. Until then, my name is Blair Monroe.
I'm Jason Zhao.
And I'm Marianne Burke.
And this has been the semi-final match brought to you by ULTI.TV for the 2023 Division 2 Mixed Ultimate Championships in New Zealand. Until the next one, thank you so much for watching.